Yeah, well, Prof here, and I've been putting this off a little bit. I really need to give it a try, though. We are finally getting to the last item currently in from LTTstore.com and the big old box of things they sent to review, and that is the classic, original LTT Backpack. Don't suffocate your babies and children with this bag. Let's get the letter opener. And for those wondering, I said I was going to set up the commuter for my commute. Work, however, now issues us 16-inch laptops. So check out that whole video if you're interested in. I think I could have fit everything in there. If only the, oh, I forgot one more piece of tape. If only the laptop. And I don't control that. That's not, they say 15-inch laptop. They don't even say 15.4 or 15.6. They say 15. I showed how 14 fits in there. Perfectly fine. 13, perfectly fine. Now this guy, that is a big ol' backpack. From what I recall, Linus designed this to be the exact size as the maximum allowable carry-on for most flights and airlines. And it sure isn't small, that's for sure. Now this is the additional Velcro on thing that would go over your luggage, so that when you're wheeling through the airport, you can rest this on your luggage rather than having to wear it. Right now on the commuter, which was made later on, it's just integrated in, but it is only this little tiny flap here. Now that might be enough to keep it on there. It needs to be a little stretchy in my opinion though, and that is so flush that I wonder if now here's something else they changed. This is like this micro mesh, like stretchy, almost I don't want to say spandex, but that sort of thing. Whereas on the original, like, I wonder how that would wear. That stuff generally doesn't wear all that well, I feel like. Whereas I do feel like this sort of classic mesh knit is going to wear better. Unless something hooks it, like cat claws or something like that. Or like something you're doing. I have a feeling that, at least for me, this is going to come off and maybe get used. You'd have to probably, like, unless you're traveling often, right, I would leave this with your luggage, and then if this is your main bag, you leave it in your luggage or with your luggage, and then when you bring this bag with you, you pull this out and put it on. Day to day, I can't imagine you're gonna want that on there. I want to see for the examples here. Like, now my day-to-day bag is kind of saggy. This one was provided by work. So you can kind of see that is a large difference. Not saying that's bad, right? But, you know, that's where I felt like had my laptop fit, I could have ran the commuter day to day. Because effectively, this pouch, that's full of an air pouch. That's like a whole backpack. This quote-unquote bag of holding. There's your do not eat. Nom 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 nom. Reprieve, so same as the other backpack. Features, multiple pad sleeves, interlocking zippers, RFID blocking pocket, water bottle pocket, removable chest strap, reinforced high stress areas, LTT screwdriver pocket, custom comfort foam, water resistant material. It's just the Reprieve. Okay, backpack. Don't know if it. I think it itself shows that it is backpack. You guys let me know down below on that one. Ooh, carabiner. Does it have not for climbing on it? Because if it doesn't, I'm climbing with it. Let's go. Ugh. You can tell it's lightweight. And it just has that, it doesn't have a notch in there. Generally the climbing ones will actually have a notch. And then there's a bar that goes across, like a pin. Classic carabiners, I have a lot of them. You can easily hook something on here. I wonder if that's standard on all of them, that it comes with a carabiner, because that seems more like a customizable thing that you would choose to do. For day-to-day, really, though, carabiners were like a big thing when I was a wee lad. So we're talking, 90s. I want to say that's when, maybe that's just when I experienced them. Maybe they were readily available, but I really want to say starting mid to late 90s is when those started going off, like the carabiners. I still have some from them that are not for climbing ones, but are like the proper, and they cost a decent chunk of change, but people started using for all sorts of things. I almost prefer these Night Eyes ones, these S hooks. There's other ones that are pivoted. There's other ones that like retain on this side. There's locking ones. Like once you start, like you don't need to limit yourself to a classic style carabiner anymore. We're gonna want this. Forgot about that. This is our kind of big water bottle substitute, because though I do have a couple of LTT water bottles, they're upstairs, and I don't particularly want to. It's also this time at night. If you guys have a water bottle cabinet, you do not want to be rifling through it at that time of night. Those of you that have a cabinet like that will know what I am talking about. We can clip that. Snip on that off. You're gonna have to extend the old Gorilla Pod lock line set up here, just to get it to fit in frame. And once again, this video brought to you by LTTstore.com. If you look down below in the description, possibly in a pinned comment, I will have affiliate codes for you guys to use. Previously, we looked at some of the other stuff, but they had sent over this Prismagic, and enough of you must have been interested. I didn't have affiliate. They didn't even have an affiliate system back then. But there was enough interest that, or they liked my content, they liked my feedback. That could be it too. A lot of companies, for those wondering, why would companies, like I've gotten products from, you're like, you're a little guy. Yeah, well then, that's correct. But yet I've gotten products from the likes of SteelSeries, Rockcat, Cooler Master, Noctua has done some stuff, etc. Well, one of the big ones there is feedback. And if they value your feedback, a way they can get that is by effectively sending you product to look at. I don't know if that was the case for some of these other ones. I would say way back in the day, back in the era of post ice mat, but SteelSeries Experience i2, and their Kana Kinzu, first generation stuff, even into second generation. That's why I was getting stuff. Because back then it was just going on to blogs. Remember Blogspot blogs? Yeah. Had the #1 content for the SteelSeries WoW mouse, which was made by, I can't remember the name of the company right now, but they bought out the company that made those keyboards that had inserts. Basically, you could get it's like a 3-piece foldable thing that you would put in, and it would actually change out, instead of you reprogramming your keyboard, it would physically give you it'd be this is the WoW keyboard, this is the StarCraft keyboard, but there'd be an insert. So you didn't reprogram, and it would have the actions on it. Kind of they might have had stuff for Premiere and especially Final Cut. That was a thing. That people would sell. Then they later went to silicone covers that would go over your Mac keyboards, so the Final Cut buttons. That's old school. That if you're running, that's why Control, Alt, Control, and Shift used to be RGB. Was because they would actually color code the buttons with your F keys, right? And some of your other keys, you would color code them. So if it was red and that button, you would know you have to press Control and then the button, or blue and the button. And it would actually be on the keys or on keycaps you could take off and reprint. Or if it was a big enough chain or a big enough POS system, they would get keycaps made that were that way. That had the the blue or the green or the red in them. Don't know how we got onto that, but yeah, apparently, and I know a lot of you guys picked them up due to the mystery screwdrivers over the holidays. I believe one of the affiliate links down below is the mystery screwdriver, which is on. The affiliate code isn't to a sale item, but I believe during the current tax write-off sale, the mystery screwdriver has a discount. You don't get a discount just from using my affiliate code. It just happens to be. Okay. The backpack might also be right now. A lot of that stuff is discounted right now. Whoa, don't fall over, guys and gals. I'm gonna take a little green tea break here. LTT branding. There was some complaints about how big it was. Not on this, mind you, on the Commuter. I was thirsty. Sorry. Done. The Commuter is hilariously small. They did that after the feedback of that. Also, if you don't want that on there, it is stitched down. Get yourself a seat number. Take it off. I feel like a lot of people that want an LTT backpack, though, want some branding. So I think that's a pen pocket. That's the screwdriver pocket. I want to say so far that use the clear one, because the orange one doesn't show up very well on the orange. Translucent. This one also. I picked up this one. Even though I already had some. If you haven't checked out the video where I gave Squares, the one that LTT Store sent over, go and check that video out. He found it. It was supposed to be a mystery. So what this zip is for if you drop something in here. Like say a bit falls out or falls off, you can unzip it and fish around and get that. So that's why that was made. Materials on this whole flap, I'm going to say Commuter better. It just feels more quality. The pulls on this feel better. Zippers and pulls. So this nylon ripstop material, I think, is what it would be. And a lot of this is like double backed. This feels nicer. Sorry, I'm behind the camera. That feels nicer than that. This zipper makes a little bit nicer. It locks too, locks up, not just the dangly one. I think there is a lot of thought from this guy to that guy, right? You see how that opens down too. Some people don't like, because it can create a crease right there. I mentioned that. You gotta pop that back out, right? But this goes down much lower. We've had that discussion on how that should have a much shorter zipper pull on the commuter. I haven't had it do that yet where it goes in the zipper, but I did have it do that, and then I still can't do it because it gets caught. This should be, and I meant to tie it off, but I never ended up using this, remember? It will have use eventually, for those wondering. But that should be a much shorter zipper pull, just so that it doesn't get caught in the zipper like you just saw, or like that, even if it's not in the zipper, it will catch it. Both ways on both sides. That just needs to be a little stubby guy. It's just for your, it's just like a semi-hard shell microfiber for your glasses. You know, so it doesn't need to have as long of a pull. I can see why they didn't. My recommendation is just tie it shorter. This does, on the note of zipper pulls, I have heard about this sagging once you get it full like this. Yeah, because this unzips all the way, right? So you can open it up like this. We had a test before with my mini notebook. I always have one of these. Often when I was on site more or in Geek Squad, this size notebook would be not only in my bag but potentially in my pocket. So this should be able to fit. No, maybe if you give her wah. Okay, fits kind of. There used to be one size smaller than this in moleskin, and I say used to be because I haven't seen one since Borders closed. That probably dates me and what I'm saying. So I ended up having to switch. I'm sure this would break in. Kind of like I showed on the commuter, where an 8.5 by 8.5 notebook, like this guy. There you can see my latest design. That's gonna be the layout of the lights in the workroom. 24 inches apart, basically. This fit in the commuter. Oh, my beautiful sticky notes. Full stick, super sticky, no longer produced. I feel like if all of you knew that these existed, that these superior sticky notes existed, they wouldn't have gone extinct. And yes, you can just take the back off, stick them to a surface like this, and always have sticky notes at the ready. Super handy. This fit in the commuter, just. There's like a little place where you can hang your keys. I would either figure out how to tuck that out of the way or take it off, because then I could still fit my notebook in. And a full, this is 8.5 by 8.5. This is the Rhodia Dot book, the most superior book. It's effectively like graph paper, except you can draw between the graphs because it's dots. And then it is the reverse book because the 8.5 by 8.5, not only can you use it this way, but you can use it like I like using, like a memo pad or like a reporter notebook like this. And even though it's not Nice thing about memo pad is you can tear stuff out very cleanly because it's perforated, right? But these are still perforated, and they're 8.5 once 8.5 by 8.5 once ripped. That's the other important thing. A lot of paper notebooks are that size when they're in your notebook, not once they're torn out. At first, I don't want to say like design stuff, but you saw me drawing. I often draw like left to right, like opened, so I can reference something and draw. Notes, I will do reporter style, and then just flip. So I think a lot of people are going to throw a ton of weight in this, and you can already see there it will droop a little bit. Keep that in mind. Don't load this up too much. Oh, I guess we could check. Doth notebook fit in here? It sure does. So for me, that's probably where I would run it. Run my moleskin there, which will have important process notes. Guys, if somebody shows you how to do something, you write it the fuck down, okay? I could see this being AirPods. I could go and get a pair, toss them in there. Here's the next best thing. Sony InZone Buds. These have the XM1000 Mark IV, I believe, drivers. There you go. Can it zip? No. So that's going to be... Can't be anything too thick. Let's flip it upside down just to make sure. Make it thinner by the zipper. Okay, you could make it work. Yeah, you could AirPods. I have a feeling that a lot of these on this one, this is a less stretchy fabric because it's like canvas. I don't know if it's reprieve just like the outer or not, right? But it's that sort of like canvas woven. There's less give to, but you know, see my notebook does fit here. If you were going to put it in there, you'd be wise to not leave it open so that you got the harder covers on both sides. Rhodia makes very nice paper. That's the other thing, if I'm even saying that right. I think they're Franck. Yeah, Franck. So that would work for me. Even that, I don't know if you saw it, it was sagging a little bit. So I can definitely see the complaints. If you put something, like say if you put a charger in there regularly, I would keep it to like loosely wound USB-C cables. Not the charger itself, you know, or like a singular notebook like this seem to exist perfectly fine. Exists perfectly fine in there. This might have been designed too specifically for AirPods. Little bulgy. I don't know if with the notebook here, if that would bulge out too far. I also always carry a pair of Moondrop Chew Gen 1s. I need another pair, but they stopped selling them. And the Chew 2s are not superior. The Chew 2s are better at being IEMs. I did not buy Moondrop Chew 1s to be IEMs. I bought them to be good earbuds with a microphone on them. Like better than the normal like earbuds that go in your ear that aren't IEMs, like a standard earbud with the silicone tip that go in your ear. Better than that, right? Or a bit effectively the same thing as that. But yeah, whereas the Chew 2s are like, oh, you can, like, they have a much thicker barrel. They're much less comfortable. Yeah, they're more customizable, but like, you're buying the cheapest earbud. If your goal is to modify the cheapest thing, like many things out there, just buy the better thing. I know a lot of hobbies out there won't like me for saying that, but that could easily go in here. For those wondering, you're like, you say you have that. Yes, here, this pocket. It's already open. So this Could easily go in there like that. That's the other reason I like the chew ones. They come in this little nice little felt pouch here. They come with those onion earbuds. And that is all ear schmoo in there, I'm pretty sure. Earwax schmoo. That I need to. Deal with. But you always keep, for those wondering, if you have meetings and or calls or you need to test audio, you always keep yourself a known good, reliable set of either headphones, or headset, or IEMs or earbuds. You always have a corded pair. The number of times that your AirPods won't connect via Bluetooth and you still have to have a meeting. The people in the meeting, especially if they're higher up or they're a client of yours, etc., they don't give a fuck. Okay. Sorry to tell you that, but they don't. So you make it work, and almost every laptop still has. Oh, okay. So you can get it zipped up a little bit more. That'll make it go even more. I would probably keep it. No. There you go. Just watch out for that. Don't overload this. That is an awkward zip. So here, like on this guy, you could really use a pull like you have on the... Here, we'll just fucking take it off. I'm gonna solve this shit right now for you. Or at least demonstrate it. This guy could use a pull. I'll show you why. Because you're underneath this. So get some paracord, make your own. But since you're underneath this should dangle down, right? That's how I would do it. And I wouldn't put a pull on this one because you're always gonna open this. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know many people that are gonna do that and try and peer in. You can't. It's too tall. So this bit of this pocket was sized to fit the size of the bag. And it's effectively too tall. It would be nice to see another pouch here or here. I have one on the bag that ended up being my on-site bag. 511. Move that out of the way. Don't tip over, please. You're gonna tip over. Okay, 511. Technically a gym pack. Doesn't matter. Built like a brick shit house. I have more things to put on it that can contain and better organize some of the stuff. I just haven't yet. And it's been years. Ever since I have kind of stopped doing on-site as my main. So there's these little pouches like this that you can put on all the webbing. And I picked out the ones that I felt I could use the best, the most, etc. And I need to figure out where in or on that bag they go to expand. Well, I didn't really expand storage. I have enough storage on it, but it's going to get, you'll see here that if we, so what I was thinking for that front pouch, they could have done, not what's here, that's where like your stinky stuff's supposed to go. That's why it's vented. I have some notebooks in there for clients because that's how I prefer paper notes. Nowadays, a lot of this, especially because I'm doing a lot more remote. Here, I got given this. This is like a little purse thing. Eventually, this will get coin purse. This will get replaced with one of those that you just saw. And this has SD card. That's a fancy SD card. We can talk about that sometime. SD card reader, a micro SD adapter. just all these little goober guys, you know, USB-C to USB-C, USB, all that, you know, flash drives. You want your 128 gig that you don't care about, that you can, I think Samsung has said they're stopping making these now, though. Great. But this was kind of like client wants a backup of their computer. I used to keep 32s for boot drives and 128s for backups. And then what I would do is just give this to them, take off my wristband here, unless they want it. I charge them for that too. But then you just charge them for it and order another one off Amazon. Yeah, and I have 2 in there because sometimes you're going to have 4+ appointments a day. And when I only had 1, I actually ran into a back-to-back where they wanted to keep the backup. So I keep one, got the black Samsung on the black, or the dark Samsung, gunmetal, and the silver on the white. Just in case you're doing 2, you can keep things separate. All that sorts of stuff is in there. So that's where I have that. I want to use those separate packs. That's where LTT has the tech sack. We showed that off, or at least the one that I haven't put back into service after a friend got one off me, my original. This fits perfectly in the bottom of the commuter. Pretty much if you're buying a commuter, buy one of these. I think they actually had a bundle. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case for this LTT. There seems to be more room. But not in this pouch, but this pouch, you can see at the top of here, very top of here, there's a little zipper. And it's shallow. And then in here are all of my kind of long, wide cables. There's a 3.5 mil to 2 3-pole to 1 4-pole, USB-C, ThinkPad, Gigabit Ethernet, different Ethernet for ThinkPad, more USB-C. Eventually, these are the ones that are going in those things get separated out a little bit more. Then we've got USB-C dock back from the era. This is I call this one the hot J5 Create. It gets really freaking hot. But it's the only one that back in my Geek Squad days that we found to actually work as advertised, and it costs like $75-$80. I constantly have people on the floor selling these adapters to people, and them not be able to do what they want, not be garbage, or they couldn't plug in power through them, etc. And this is like, hey, yep, those other ones are like fine, they might work. I know from our experience that yes, this is more, but this is the one you want. We got 2 C to A's because a lot of laptops only have 2 Type-C ports and nothing else. Sometimes you need both of them. We got a display port to USB-C, Dell adapter. By the way, these Dell adapters are really good and they're really cheap. These ribbon ones, because they don't like get all wound up and everything. All this thinny skin stuff, skinny thin stuff, could be in a pocket. Maybe not all of this because this is a lot, right? But I think I have a Surface USB-C adapter in there too. Effectively though, had I not already had this and have it mostly set up, realistically, when I was doing on-site IT work, I wished once I saw this bag, and I can understand for a bunch of our guys that still have to go around to sites or go between our own sites. I've seen a bunch of our engineers using this, and if you're carrying, like, some of those guys have bigger, beefier laptops. Yes, I know I complained that I have a 16-inch. A lot of them will have big, beefy ones that are have dedicated graphics cards and stuff in them, which can get pretty big and heavy. I actually had one until recently, and I for the most part don't matter. If I was on site, I wouldn't want it, but at the desk where I'm mostly using it docked, I'll deal with the little extra weight when I do use it portably to have much more power docked. So I really feel like we could have like a little zipper pouch here, because otherwise there's really no point in not in my opinion, leaving this zipper here, right? Leaving this zipper right where it is. I mean, it could basically not be there, right? Because you're not going to put, like, it's shipped like this, right? Like that. You're not going to, in my opinion, open this up. What are you going to get out of there, right? So I would leave this one all the way over there. Put a pull on this one, so you can kind of, and you're like, oh, but only one will have pull. Yeah, so you don't grab this one. You just grab this one, and you got all your stuff. Boom, 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 boom. And then there's some weight in here. It'd probably be easier. See? So that should come with a pull. We're going to take that off and put it back on the commuter. So don't forget, the commuter needs a shorter pull. Like, realistically, it needs just a normal zippery guy like this, not the ring with the pull. And yes, I understand from a production of the bag aspect, having all the zippers on the bag being the same or as many as possible is ideal. Downside of my current work bag is it has become very floppy when there is not a laptop in it. Can't comment on the LTTs on how that would be. So here's where zipper coming here, good. It is like that on the commuter. And this is where I think I reviewed the newer commuter first. This, to me, seems pointless. This whole, and like, it's available here, so I guess you could put, like, for cables to come through, so you could put your phone in there, I guess, and have the headphones running out. Also, this zipper doesn't go far enough. This zipper should go all the way to the end here if you're going to use it, just like this one is, right? So I would have put the pocket, I don't know, it needs to be more this way so you can open it up all the way, actually. Yeah, because you can't actually get... I would have just eschewed this whole pocket. I don't know what people are using here, if it's phones, or I guess you could have put the notebook there, or erasers, or I don't, like, I have my pen case I showed off in a recent review of this tactile turn Anzo blackened brass, where I showed off like what my loadout was when I was in college doing design, and I have like a little pack that has going for industrial design, where it has like enough to do all my basics, where I don't need all the stuff, you know, standard mechanical pencil, lead holder sharpener, 2 different erasers. What else did it have? I think it normally would have had a zebra, like oil-based permanent marker in there. You know, just kind of like, and no, it didn't have a pen, because I normally carry all my pens in my pockets on me at all times. Though the bag had pen, because you always want to have backup. Maybe this is for pens. I would like to see loops then. Not that you can't have this, but you see how that caves in? That's not great. For like this guy. All right. So, and I know with how this is designed, it's going to take them years before they update the LTT backpack. But I personally think this thing's like hard to zipper. Maybe it'll get better over time. And for me, yes, it is quicker to zip up. So you're either going to leave this zipper all the way down here, or you're going to zip this one up like that. I, once again, don't see why you need dual. I mean, do you guys know why on these smaller pockets you would need 2 of them? Because, like, you're never going to go there and, like, fish something out, right? Or you're never, maybe not never, maybe I'm wrong. Unlikely that you would do that to, maybe. You can like, I have a feeling you're just going to leave that up there and that up down there. And here you go, zip, boom, and then zip, boom, grab it. I would say screw that, get rid of this pocket, personally. And yes, I have not used this one yet. But just looking at the design, comparing their computer, this, I want this opening on that side as well, so you can bend it down and get it. Right? That may then involve taking this pouch and moving it down or up, depending. Right? And the reason for that is it's going to want to bend like here or there, right? If you have stuff in here, that's got to be able to bend then. So I don't know if you move it down or up, something like that. Up here, this is a very soft, smooth pocket, probably for your phone. I don't understand people personally, and I know some of you, they keep their phones in their purse, they keep their phones in their backpack. Yeah, you can do that. It's gonna be in the pocket. That's what's shooting the video right now. Also, that is an SE Gen 3. Pixel 9 Pro probably works there fine. I actually just put the Pixel 5 away that Squeers returned to me after he got his 10A. So his 7A is now his backup. I think the 5 might have lost support anyway. Oh, for those wondering, where does this design come from with the headphone jack? Here you go. iPod. Yeah, I think I would probably do open, shut. So you take this guy, you unzip this, put your iPod in there. Not really all that soft, so I'd probably go this way. Zip it up, and then you can feed your headphones in there. I don't know anybody that does that anymore. I mean, I know that iPods are coming back. Now this is just me, but they're coming, like analog in general. Like the hip cool thing is just to use wired ear pods, you know, instead of wireless. And actually, yeah, the mic sounds a million times better. That's another reason for those wondering. Why do you get the wired headphones and you always find a place to get a pair that's under 20 bucks? That's good quality. That has a good quality mic. Like, don't just go to the store and buy whatever garbage. You know, make sure you get something that's like quality and check it. But usually the mic quality on a wired pair of earbuds is going to way outperform the Bluetooth ones. So here's another iPod, like stuff like that you can put up here. It's not big enough really to do anything other than your phone. Like, I think it's so shallow, it's to like here, right? So like I can't even put it this way. I guess you could if you're being really, no, you know. So at least standard iPod classic height, nope. Mini, I think same there. They're pretty much the same height this way. So I have a feeling that is very much phone pocket. Because it's not like hard like on the commuter for glasses. It is soft like that though. So yeah, getting into this pocket of holding is hard, I'm sorry to say. And it is hard because this gusseted, I don't know if that's are those gussets? If I'm wrong, yell at me in the comments. Those seem like gussets. Is not on the other side. So like this asymmetric design. Yeah. Is this also the... Okay, so supposedly there's a water bottle holder. Is that the... Oh, that's that. Okay, so that's not gussets. That's water bottle holder. Now, if I recall correctly, that does not fit their biggest one. They're... Oh my gosh, using this. Nope. Okay. Once again, I would argue Commuter's better design. Getting that in there, kind of a chore. Whereas done. And you can do one on the other side. And yes, I know this isn't a water bottle, but it is. I would say the same rough, we went over this in the Commuter video. Often I will use water bottle pockets for this, or water bottle, like where water bottles are supposed to go in your car or on your boat, because they purposely made the Mega Boom, Ultimate Ears Mega Boom. This is the Gen 3. The Gen 4 is out now. It doesn't have this awesome charging base though, where you just bloop it down. You might have seen me pick it up there. I thought this thing has died multiple times, and it hasn't. So as long as it keeps on trucking, I'll keep using it. What they should probably do, because you can easily do it now with a MagSafe, is yeet this proprietary standard, slap some MagSafe on the bottom, call it good. Because what I love about having the dock for this is, and you can still charge it normally under here, but basically that keeps this all sealed up and it's all waterproof and you don't have to fuck with it, right? And if you leave it on or on that, every time you go and grab this, I'm using this, well actually I use it daily, but that's for short spurts, so I usually don't dock it then, but at least weekly, maybe bi-weekly at most, I go and grab this for hours at a time to use, either for listening to podcasts, listening to music, etc. So to know that when I grab it, it's charged, that I don't have to worry about that, I don't have to faff around with getting a cable in its butt, that sold me. That sold me a million times over. And to be truthful, if this failed me, which it better not, talking to you, speaker, I would go out and buy another one. Like go on eBay, buy an new old stock. So I don't particularly like, I think in the previous one I showed putting a Zaryushi water bottle in here. That would work much better than this guy. This guy does have rubber on it, it's gripping. If you use one of their metal bottles, I'm sure it'll go better. What is their standard one, like 28 ounces or something? If you kind of open it up like this and put it in from here, like that, I'm sure it'll go a little bit better. I think it would be a little bit more accessible if that side opened up, right? You can kind of tell that this was made very much for Linus. Now that's kind of like that other pocket I showed you in the 511 where I have all those cables. Like they're like all adapters, so they're all dongles. Dongle Daikazuku. My dongle family. They're about yay long. That's a dongle pocket. If I've ever seen a dongle pocket, that's a dongle pocket. That style of zip is good for in here. We should maybe focus on it a little bit. These are the upgraded carabiner zippers that probably cost way too much. I believe they are titanium. I think they're based on somebody else's design, but they worked with the manufacturer of their backpack to design one of these. And I think it, like I said, I think they found one that he ordered where this is fatiguing the titanium to bend. That's what those notches are cut out, is it's actually flexing in there, right? And I think they bought some that were like pre-made, like that already existed that you can get off of like Amazon. I want to say they're in the $10 to $20 range, which makes sense for like EDC gear and stuff like that. I can already show you. Do you see how it's already not up there? So that is kind of the downside of titanium. Is that it remembers. So if you, actually I might even have a pen. I don't know that I do actually around here. Oh, I do have a knife though. guys? You're staring at the ceiling. King Arthur, what are you doing? My big boy, my big orange boy, what are you up to over there? He's probably wondering why we're not watching anime. Normally, by now we would be. Let me grab... I actually don't know if that's titanium. We need titanium. Where's my Geek Squad lens? That's over there. Oh, jeez. No, it's not. Where the fuck did I put that one? This one might be in it, guys. No, it's powder coated. I'm having trouble finding one. Hold on. There you go. Okay, this knife brand switched away from titanium. Because what ends up happening is you have to overbend it and then it kind of springs back. However, if you keep titanium in a prolonged position like that, it'll start remembering that it wants to be there instead of there. So then you have to overbend it again. And like basically what I do is I flip these around, because what can happen is this is on my belt, this gets caught from the bottom on something, and then it just goes like that. And then it bends it like that far, and it will just stay there. Now, because it's titanium, you can just flip it around and bend it back the other way. But that is also the downside. That is why this knife brand has since switched to making those out of steel. They are much stronger. They exert more force, which may or may not be a good thing, because they are tighter. Might be able to see on this clip. Yeah, here. You can see, I don't know if you can see, if this dips in here, right, like, whoop. That is because this being as sturdy as it is, and this is the weak point right there, it went, and then I had to flip it around this way, crank it down, and you have to crank it down to about there. Then it'll pop back up to about there, and that's what's putting enough pressure. Now, it's easily doable, but that's why they switched from, you can see this thing's been well used. Actually sat in a parking lot for 8 hours and got ran over by cars. And so this, not this one, the brand, when they heard my story and I shared it, actually gave me a new clip. They were like, oh, hell yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah, because even with steel clip would have got smacked by cars. But that's why they switched to steel clips now, and they're much, much tighter. Here. And I've yet to have one of these like that. So what I'm kind of getting at is, oh, that's titanium. I forgot about that. Pretty light. So you can see on this guy how clean that line is, right? You can see how that, now just me holding this open for as long as I did made this sit back a little bit from it. See that? Versus this guy. King Arthur, what are you doing? Versus this guy who closes all the way still. And that's that, and you can, I'm not going to do it because mine aren't that jacked up, but I believe Linus showed that you can take these, pop them out like forward outside of this. Here. Don't do it too often because the titanium is brittle this way too, right? And that, then you're going to over extend it a little bit and then put it back, right? And it would, you can even bend it a little bit that way. Be very careful. Titanium is actually, is ductile the right word? Like you can bend it a lot of times. So that is something it's good for. If you have an original one of these, they would have sent you, or you could have gotten or if you didn't want the new zippers, I think they might have given you like a $50 store credit or something. It's these that they made a tool for you to change the old zipper pulls out that broke, and then slip these in. These are not meant to be crimped more than once, and they've already been crimped to put your original ones on, like, you know, like these, right? Or in the past, the ones that broke. These are the updated ones that should not break. This will fatigue, because that's just like a soft pot metal on the zipper pulls, because normally you wouldn't have to uncrimp and crimp that. Normally they come a little bit up and then they smush them down and put the original pull on, right? So they aren't thinking about that. The idea with these, and I'm already seeing, like, when I zip, look at that. See how it's pushing that off to the side? That, I believe, is actually what broke the originals, is the side-to-side movement, if I recall correctly. And being that this is like a carabiner pull, you just doing, I can tell exactly how that happened just by grabbing this once. And if that was like a brittle, like pot metal like this is, clip that right off. I don't personally know if these are needed. I think they showed off like clipping them together, but there's not enough looseness in there to do that. Really? Like, you can? I gotta get it out. It's not zipped all the way then. So if you need a little wet, it's gonna get a little wet in there. I feel like there'd need to be a little bit more looseness on the zipper pull to make that like a viable thing. I've definitely done that before. I've even done, you know, like, that might be, okay, let's take it. Remember how I said, hey, why do we need 2 zippers here? Right? Because you're not going to use them both. Right? Or why do we need 2 on this pouch that go here? Right? Well, you can lock them. Now, is that going to prevent somebody from getting in there? No. Obviously, if they have this awesome letter opener right here, yep, you know, our package opener, they could, you know, get in there. No problem. But it's at least a means of deterrent, potentially, right? Now, depending on what it is, it could also be a, hey, if it's expensive enough to lock up, let's just take the whole frickin' thing. You know, you make that call based on where you live and how it is you do. I definitely had, when going to one of the colleges I attended, I definitely had like little luggage locks on there. Other ones, you wouldn't leave your backpack unattended enough to need it. So, but yeah, so this bag of holding, I can see what Linus is going for here. Also, I can see why they put the drinks holder in here, is because this is a defined size. It has to fit in the carry-on thing. However, since then, I believe Linus has found that on the smaller puddle jumper planes, which where I live, you encounter probably more than some others, because you have to get to the place that'll get you to the place, if that makes sense. You know, I would have to look up dimensions. I think some of these places are also shrinking their dimensions because they're making seats smaller. I think one place like recently shrunk carry-on sizes, which is annoying. You have to wonder if they're doing that just for like carry-on luggage sizes, right? Not just like your carry-on like bag or backpack size, right? You have to wonder if they're doing that just to make you buy, because it's like slightly smaller. It's like you didn't redesign the plane over that, or if you did, like, we have a defined carry-on luggage size. Like, why have you done this? You know, do they just want to sell luggage? I personally don't know how much use. You guys let me know. Maybe either if you're somebody new that is looking at this backpack, you're like, that pouch on the side here, I need that for quick access, ABC, XYZ, that will perfectly fit, like, hand width size, a little bit longer than hand depth size. I mean, I am nearly scraping the bottom with my my hands, and less than that, and then like one that's accessible from the outside, but that you don't have to worry about somebody like, I guess, going in and grabbing it. I don't know the intention here. Maybe I should look at the site. A lot of these things, maybe we can look at it once we're done here, but I look at these. A lot of the stuff I want to look at and try and figure out myself, you know, because things, even Linus has said in a recent WAN show, it should be intuitive. Your backpack should be intuitive. So this sort of thing, I might not even leave on top. I might do the whole, because once again, I don't, this may be a differing opinion. Do you want them both on top and unzipper like this? Or do you want one that you grab and just... Because I really feel like that, and maybe this one you would, because you're going to unzipper it this way and you could get at that pouch. Like we talked about, there should be one there or there. So I could see that. Then you would want both of them in the middle. Yeah, I can feel these flexing. So if the original design had left-right weakness, like weakness in its hips, right? Because you're pushing on the side of that, you know, and because it doesn't have this, that tooth that goes in there, so that when it's closed, you can't, you know, it's supporting the lateral loads. This style does not have the vertical tooth, right? So you can flex it left and right. Okay, on the back here, we'll get to the main pocket shortly. Or I think this is, and this is very much made bag of holding. I believe thoughts from Linus on that are chuck everything in there, or you'd use like something like the tech sack in the bottom. He also wants to be able to have like a day or two of clothes in it. And I can definitely see that, because how this is set up, there is no pocketing here. Line that with mesh pockets, guys. And also, I would like to see some split it down the middle, some deeper vertical ones. That's where it'd be great to have chargers and that sort of stuff. I should grab my Oakley to show that. Like, it basically has mesh pockets like this vertically, and you can put like a lot of times with the charger, you'll have the brick and the cable, or brick and cables. It's really good for that, for splitting it apart. And then it has it on both sides of a flap, right? So you can fit a lot in there. Like, you're creating defined zones so stuff isn't floating around. Now, a different technique, and that's probably what you're gonna have to use for this bag of holding, kind of like what I'm using with the 511, where you have to get other things to put your things in, and then put those things in the backpack. I am much more on the backpack should already have sorting to put things into. Now, some people would say that that restricts you more, because there is you have less control over it. A well-defined bag, you shouldn't need that on, because the pockets should be reasonably sized for things you put in them that are designed for that use of the bag, if you ask me. The final pocket, ignore that. We have the flap that I was talking about. I think this was a last-minute adder, because the Velcro's on like the back side. You could easily flip that to the outer side. I can tell you why the Velcro's on the back side. And that is because this is going to be on your back. So they don't want the Velcro going into like your shirt. However, Velcro being on the back side, also, when you put the, like, this is kind of cheesy for your bag, right? It's at least removable. It's at least adjustable, which is better than the Commuter, which just has that one thin strap that, in my opinion, is too tight, because you have like that much of a thickness of a luggage bag handle, right? So you need to at least accommodate for that much. So like, we're neither here nor there, right? And then they have the ones that have like elastic here. Because then once it stretches, it becomes useless, right? Maybe use straps just like your bag has. I don't know. But this just looks haphazard, thrown on later. It should be integrated into the bag in some way. And I understand you want it adjustable, right? So right now it's on, it could go one lower, but I don't know that it really could, because this strap, so they have one more hook, that's one lower, except the bottom strap of the bag is in the way. So I don't know how you would get this loop cleanly into that. You can definitely go up one more, which you might want because this bag's rather big and heavy. So you would want this strap to be up as high on the handle as you can get to have it have more support, right? The Velcro, I mean, this isn't even zipped up though. But the Velcro is reasonably strong. My worry would be hitting it with the handle and getting it undone. I've seen snaps. You could use snaps for that, right? I just saw something that kind of defeats the point of this as well. All right, so say you're doing, you got this on there, right? This for me would come off immediately. Your what often people would call passport pocket, say that 5 times fast, is right here. That's for your secure documents, your passport, your... Oh, it's apparently an RFID bag. That's what they were talking about. That's the crinkly Mylar sound. That's rather annoying. So I guess that's meant for payment cards. I guess some modern passports, actually my modern passport might have RFID stuff on there. So theoretically that blocks it. We would have to test that to make sure. But I would like to iterate that that is not accessible, effectively not accessible, with this on there. Maybe, you know, even if we moved it up, it might be better moved up. I said I was going to take this off. I probably will. What I can do, though, is move it up one. Okay. The hooks on top are not big enough to get that in easier. This is a wider gap than this. I wonder why they chose to do that. If anybody can think. Yeah, like that's frustrating. This, easy. Woo! This, frustrating. So is that just a difference in design to have, you know, small, big, small, big, small, big? You can get it through if you really want to faff with it. Which I wouldn't want to. Here's where that pocket ends. Yes. So if you do go through the trouble, probably if you use this quite often, and you're going to leave it on there. Now, also remember, if you're actually walking around with this on a regular basis, you will not want this on there because this is your ventilated cushioned back. This will soak with sweat and just become a big wet patch on your back. So you're not going to want to leave this on there. Now, because, in my opinion, to use this reasonably, you need to move it up to the small holes that it's a pain in the butt to feed through. You know, once again, a downer. I don't know. I feel like there have been better designs. Like one way that you could do it too is if you had snaps and you went through it and snapped it here like that, right? Snap, right? Something like that. I don't know. This just seems like something that was tacked on after, like, oh shit, we need to... and if you guys are wondering, yes, I am kind of digging into the big backpack. Part of that is because I've already seen the commuter backpack. I also have, for those wondering, what I travel with. I don't generally need, for travel, big backpack. I use camera bag. And camera bag, very well thought out. Billingham camera bag. I forget which model this is. I can fit my Surface Laptop Studio in there, just. The blade still fits much better because it's like a 13-inch MacBook, so that's what it's designed for. Ta-da! That's got my camera equipment. I can even fit, if I expand these, my sweatshirt in the top here. And if you're not doing camera equipment, I just empty it out and put water bottles. Also, if I know what I'm doing for the day, I don't need to have camera and lenses. I can just have camera, or you can fit the lenses underneath because I have chargers and that sort of stuff in there. I kind of empty it out at the room. You know, I think some of this has been ransacked a bit. We've got a C to A adapter, lightning charger for that looks like a Samsung USB-C adapter. You know, so this is what I would travel with and have multiple times. There's a strap. Look at that. Wow, and you don't even notice it's there, really, because it's just integrated into the design of the product. So, you know, I really, really love this thing. This is a bag, I can tell you, not that I'm saying, oh, you should get this over the LTT. It's a completely different product, right? But a Billingham bag like this is a one-time buy, lifetime purchase. You only buy another one if you want a different color, or, you know, there are people that have ones that are older than me that are still running to this day, and they still service them. So just keep that in mind. You know, that's a different kind of product, but you know, so this could be done better. That also has, if you saw, like there's actually like a leather. So when it comes to secure document pockets, this has one too, and it's waterproof. This is all water resistant because of the material. This with this thick leather flap here, with a waterproof zipper. That back one, which is against you, is kind of like the secure document pocket. Fits 8.5 by 11 or A4 paper, flat-wise, and is fully waterproof. I mean, I shouldn't say fully waterproof. If you dunked the entire bag, it'd probably get wet. But you know what I mean? Like, whereas the bag's gotten a little damp before, things in that pocket, even if, say heavy downpour, some stuff in the bag on the back side of the flaps on top. That's also why the flaps go over it, right? So the water can't go under and get in. It's very well thought out. Some of this seems not nearly as much. Similar straps to the Commuter. This is going to be more breathable, and I can see why they did it, is they wanted to block out whatever's under here, like this foam. Now I understand why they went black. This is far more stealth, right? Even on this bag, okay, for the chest strap, we got 4 height adjustments, and you got something up here you can snap a light in, you can snap all sorts of, you got 2, 1 on each side, right? And they're hard and stiff. So like clipping a pen, I mean, you wouldn't probably put a pen there, but here, I'll take a knife. You know, you can clip it in there because it's a bit stiffer, more stiff. You might put a camera. Somebody might clip a GoPro there. Somebody might clip a flashlight. You have a headlamp like this guy. You can get a clip for him, and then you would clip it like that, and then you'd be able to have some light, additional light. These are sort of similar to the sides of here, right? They look like either in between or the smaller ones. Yeah, I really don't know why these differ in size, because doesn't make it easy to use the upper size on the bag, like the in-between sizes. You can, it's just going to be a little bit more effort. What that does mean is the strap's going to be a little bit tighter. So this strap, if you saw on the Billingham, now I have not used this as a luggage strap before. Maybe the plan was that this is so tight, but after use it will loosen, right? Because now I have nothing in here, so I can bend the back in. Imagine your hard stiff laptop in the laptop pouch. That's got no give to it. Here's something else that I was going to bring up on the commuter that I forgot in the video. This strap is tiny. Now, it's very well riveted on, but I like having a more substantial... This wasn't a huge fan. I don't like the ones that attach here. This actually had to get re-sewed because of that. Unhappy. How it attaches, good. Skinniness, bad. Now you have this whole pouch in front. So I would have done skinny to wide and face it more that way, right? So asymmetric, but wide that way so that it doesn't get in the way of the zipper. And that you could have had a much more robust backpack. Strap. I really like this design where literally you're picking up the straps, because these are always on there very, very well, right? The straps on the bag. So why not just pick it up? This reminds me of how they would do it for like a, if you look at like a, what is it? Bulletproof vest. They always have handles right on the back to pull the person out for when they get pewed, right? Even this one, I haven't switched to this North Face. This is the new one from work. It's too small. Technically, apparently has more room than the commuter. I think the way that they laid out the commuter is very smart. It's just my backpack or my laptop for work does not fit, thus can't use. I don't have any control over that, right? So let's go to our sponsor of this video, and you're like, oh, that's crazy. How could they be a sponsor? You're like bad-mouthing them or critiquing them. Yes, but I want you guys to know what you're getting into. Here, Commuter Backpack is $169.99. The big boy backpack is even more. Now, right now, there is a sale going on. So there's like used like you. I'm sure those are open boxes. But check out the affiliate links down below. They'll get you over to the LTT store website. Let me find gear type backpack. So we have the WAN backpack I sold out. That would have been pretty dope to get. Original LTT backpack, 35 liters. This rain cover, by the way, is for this backpack. Rain cover looks pretty dope. Now, I don't commute with needing backpack. Tech sack. Well, we lost you guys. I bumped the screen and I swiped, and I used gesture controls on Android. So swipe is back, which ends the recording, and hopefully it actually stopped the recording instead of canceled it. Oh gosh. I actually bought one of these for my mom. She loves it. Offsite laptop bag. I got her the small size for her ThinkPad X1 Carbon, which is like a 14-inch, I believe, because those went 14 and 16. The Extreme, it's Rip Extreme. Extreme no longer exists. This strap on here, I don't know if it's removable or not. I don't remember. That seemed well thought out compared to the one on this one. This is actually a really nice bag if you want to just carry your laptop and some stuff for your laptop and maybe your iPad. Maybe I should do a review of that. We do have one around here, and she has it kitted out and is using it. When she got her new laptop, I was like, okay, you have to get this, and I ordered it for her. I don't remember if it was for Christmas, and I paid, full-blown price, so half off. And I know a lot of people are like not happy with it. She actually uses it both ways, for those wondering. She takes on and off the strap, because if she's just taking it as is for her laptop, she'll put the strap on it and carry it that way. If she's got another bag, she takes the strap off and puts this whole thing in whatever bag she's already taken, like the bigger bag. You know, giant purse, backpack. What do you call those things? I was gonna say luggage sack. No, duffel bag. There we go, luggage sack. Yeah, you know the luggage sack. I mean, the luggage sack, I guess, would be like the, what do they call the thing the military uses that all your stuff's in? That might be a luggage sack. So, room for all your tech, access everything faster, carry more, 35. If you're wondering why the picture's all jacked up, that is because there's currently a glitch, either with 50 series, I never had this with 40 series, or in the current NVIDIA driver, where if you use, there's HDR popping on, if the monitors, we almost killed you guys again, if the monitors resume from sleep, or from being off when the computer's still on, like they, turn off after X number of minutes, clear type text does not work. I don't know why. And then the HDR is all wacky, like it hasn't loaded the profile. Like it's the blown out HDR in old Windows prior to Windows 11. Travel ready. Airplane seats we recommend checking before flying. Yep. YKK zippers. No backpack purses. Zipper pulls more fragile. What do they have on that? Well, they just said it covering it. I watched him break one on a WAN show. But for me on site, I'm gonna let you guys know this would have been a boon. Or is Boon good? I think Boon's good. We haven't looked at this pocket yet. But the big carry everything pocket is because I would have to carry things on site. Like they would give me a laptop that we had to set up, or they would give me a router. They would give me, that'd be nice to be able to chuck all that shit in this here. And the downside is the way I had it set up is I had dedicated pockets for everything. And with this giant thing of holding, you really kind of have to come up with your own way to store stuff. And because of the fact that it does not zip down like it does on this side over here, just remember anything that's at the bottom, right, you have to unpack to get to it. So prioritize your levels. For travel, I can see that because you could have a bunch of stuff that you need at the top, like right here, that you regularly get to. You could even put clothes down here, tech sack on top, have the tech sack organizing everything, right? But, I feel like even with this, here, we have bag of holding. If I don't carry my keyboard in its case, my happy hacking keyboard, that's pretty bag of holding, and yet I have pocket, 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 pocket. It's a completely different look, I understand, but that just says to me, like, like I wanted pockets on that side. Like having a flat surface in a bag that doesn't have something that's either a pocket or a place where you can attach a pocket-like object to it, like a Velcro or a loop or something, where you can put one of those packs on it. It's kind of like wasted space, right? Even if the pockets have to be flat, you can at least store thin, small things in there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Commuter, if your laptop fits in the commuter, for at least what I do day to day now, which is commuting, which is carrying laptop, charger, notebooks. I usually carry a memo pad and the reverse book that you saw. I think that one even you could have fit an iPad with a laptop as long as it's like a reasonable size and thickness. I think I showed that with my Blade Stealth and a Surface, or Blade Stealth and drawing tablet, or Surface. I don't know why I do my Surface Laptop Studio on a drawing tablet. But okay, So another one of these where it doesn't open up all the way. So they fixed this on the commuter as well. That opens up way more for what it is. Okay. So this is another weird thing about this. This is a very wide pouch for not tall laptop. So I was thinking they could actually get this down deeper if they wanted to. That's a 13. You can fit a tablet there. You know, but that's a very like this way thick pouch on the commuter. This way, like loosey-goosey. Now they do make some pretty chonk-tastic, like especially with dedicated GPUs. Now the Blade Stealth, not one of its kind. Asus supposedly sold their equivalent of that. I don't think it was built anywhere near as well, though Razer's support is probably as bad or worse than Asus's. You know, that's an awfully thick, that's a chonk laptop. Now, if we look at what was Linus running on Wancho, Strix Halo, which is that really beefy 128, or is 128, it's a lot of CPU cores. I forget how many. I'm going to say 32 core with 128 gigs of shared VRAM with it's like a big APU. Those have to be thick. So that fits the thick, but only up to 15 inches. And I would stick by, you know, like they give you exact dimensions. If you already have the laptop, measure the laptop. Or if you're planning on buying it and getting this bag, measure or get the specs from the manufacturer. Or if you really decide on that laptop, don't let the bag choose for you. Get the laptop and then measure once you get it, and then decide if the bag's for you. We just got caught on the zipper again. That very fixable, also yet very frustrating. Similar metal clippies. I prefer these. They are a little bit thinner than these down here. These seem flatter and more better. They seem stronger because they're wider this way. Probably easier to make too because they're flatter. That would be like a punch or a press to make that. That's probably a mold. So these are probably cheaper, and I would argue better. Yeah, so we have 4 adjustments here, and they just put them on the outside, right? Here, they tried to hide them, and it's infinite adjust. Slide it up, slide it down. My issue with infinite adjust like this is what they mitigated with this is it moves. This doesn't move. This moves. So it's an up and a downside. I can tell you that with the ones that are infinitely adjustable like this, I've had them move when wearing. You know, I would rather take a designated, like clip it here, here, or here, because then it doesn't slide and move around. This is much more of a pain to change, though, I will admit. Like, they give you the option of moving it, but you're going to be going at that with, like, you know, like probably a small screwdriver. I would, if you have picks, you know, use a pick to do it. Some people might use a pretty big needle, but you're going to have to get this up and over that ledge and unhook it in order to do that. So that's pretty... It's going to take effort. Like I said, I was probably going to remove these because I don't ever... Like, I don't ride bike or hike or go long distances where I would need a chest strap, and it's just in the way. This one on here has always dangled fully extended like that for its existence. And it butts against my key card to get in the building and other stuff. Yeah, so being that in that case, the other one isn't removable. Oh, here. This is how you know why I don't like slidey ones. This one, because I mainly grab with the right thing and throw it over my right shoulder just to go in and out of buildings, in and out of cars, move it around. This one, however, is slid all the way up to the top. Right? So that's why I don't like that. I knew I had experience from doing that. Also, we have luggage thing on here. Nice, big, thick. It's actually stiff, reinforced. On the inside of this is your security pocket. On the inside of the flap. So you wouldn't even, like, it's pretty darn stealthy. Does this even have security pocket? No. Yes. Yes, this one has security pocket. So that's tiny. Whew. Okay. Mylar. I don't remember going in here in the original review. Let that like Mylar coated. Yeah. It's not as crinkly. They fixed that problem of the original bag where, holy hell, that's a crinkly ass pocket. I think if you use that a couple times, it'll get a little bit more worn in, because it does go all the way down to the base. It's just a tiny little, one of those tiny little locking zippers with the rubber end, like the kind that you get in your pants that you get caught. I understand why I put it in there, because it's actually zipping on like this side, probably to be more secure or something, or to hide better. So let's look at here. This does not open, I don't feel, as far as the commuter bag. This pocket is not as what do you want to call it? Is not as padded. That's the word I'm looking for. Padded as the computer bag. The commuter bag also is designed better, where it is notched out for the size of a laptop. We ran her till she ran out of battery. So from what I could tell, we still have the video. Down here we have, this is like the nice soft smooth. That was intended to put a Steam Deck without a case, I would assume. Otherwise, why be small, soft, smooth, right? Or you could do a Switch. I would probably do with case, personally. Especially for side impact, you know? But yes, I believe it is sized width-wise to exactly fit the original Steam Deck down there. And then you face the screen this way. Personally, I would rather have pouches. Like you have pouches up here. These pouches also are too stiff. I'm telling you right now, you need to have more slack, and it can't be just sewn flat across like that. I mean, it can be, but there's a reason why in a lot of mine they are like droopy mesh pouches, because you can fit a lot more in a droopy pouch than in just something that is flat and flush like that. I'm sure you can fit something in there. We gotta deal with the power cord. Hold on. Chubby cable. No, that's not a LTTstore.com cable. I could not get my hands on those. They were sold out. And you guys bought them all before it was even possible for me to ask for one. Not that I even knew I would be able to ask for one. This is soft on the inside, right? This is soft on the inside, so maybe they're thinking laptop, second laptop, iPad, second iPad, laptop. I don't know, that seems like a lot of screen storage. You ask me? Yeah, so apparently that... Oh, jeez. Okay. Don't show... I'm looking at the website right now. Oh, yeah, they do show it. Yeah, they only show a laptop. Oh, no, they're showing laptop, iPad. Okay. So I guess for travel, that might make sense. Personal laptop, big gaming one, or work laptop. You got a workstation with a mobile quadro, or whatever they're called now, Ada whatever. Then the other laptop. So if this is personal, big gaming laptop, that's your work laptop. And then that's your iPad. And I like for work in the past, we went over. I have used iPads for on-site surveys. I've used Surfaces. Yes, that's a neat thing. So, yeah, for all of you that think a Surface is even for work, a Surface is not at least for what I do, that's not enough oomph, even when docked in a Surface dock, really, to do what I do. So you would probably have a Surface for tablet type tasks, or just an iPad, as long as your app is on the iPad. And then you would have a laptop. So here is the laptop that didn't fit in the commuter. This is my work laptop. Let's try and fit it in the laptop compartment. This is a 16-inch Dell. I would say no, too big. Now, when it comes to the big pocket, they show some really big gaming laptop, like a thick boy in there. I don't know how thick you're gonna get. So this is a 16. You're gonna fit a 17, right? I don't know about fitting a lot of the biggest, bestest gaming laptops nowadays are going 18s. And realistically, 16s have kind of supplanted the 15-inch, or the 15.4, 15.6, 16-inch laptops have kind of supplanted those. And they go 14, 16 now. 13's like not a thing. Even when I bought my Blade Stealth, there were two. There was the Flow from Asus, not the tablet one, but the normal laptop one. I will never buy an Asus laptop again. Or there was the Blade Stealth. And as bad of support as Razer has, the build on the laptop is so much better on the Razer. So you got to kind of balance that. When you have two not optimal options, you got to pick the one that... So this fits this fine. On the commuter, the corners stuck out. About basically what you're seeing here, like what you're seeing sticking out above this flap, is what didn't fit in the commuter. So we can see here, this is the smaller laptop pocket. Let's assume you got something like we almost had to test the durability big. So this is probably how you're actually going to use it, is you're going to leave it, 13-inch. There you go. So you probably don't want to go any bigger for second laptop pocket than a 13-inch, because that cuts off right here. Otherwise, you're going to be hitting the one back there. Also, with two laptops in here, if I would have my old laptop for work, that was... Oh, I have one. I'm clapping because I would bring you with, but you're tethered because we're on a battery. All right, we gotta wipe these bad boys down. Leave it dusty. Elliot, old. Yes, indeed. This was my first laptop at the current job. This is a T15 Gen 2. T15 Gen 2, 15 inch. So that is kind of what we ran before we switched to Dell. Our company purchased another company. They ran Dell, we ran Lenovo. We got a new internal IT guy. He previously ran Dell for the companies he previously worked with, and when he worked for the government. We went Dell. Dell's equivalent to this now. Everyone to the Pro Plus, the Apple branding, Apple naming. That went to the 14 and the 16, rather than 13 and 15 point whatever. It also is taller. So here, just so I can't hold the commuter any more. This is standard T15P from Lenovo. We had many generations of those, and when LTT says 15-inch laptop for the commuter, they mean 15-inch laptop. Nobody makes that, so what they're effectively saying is 14-inch laptop. Just thought I'd test that. This also, you can see the width here. That's plenty. It's a little snug towards the bottom, but it would have been plenty if the height fit. Once again, that is the number one thing I'm going to give LTT as feedback on the commuter is extend it just that little bit to get... I'm sorry, but in the United States of America, this, or that's like kind of, I wish it wasn't 16, but we got 16-inch laptops. People here want, like people in enterprise, and they want number pads. I can tell you from selling in the US, unlike Europe, unlike Asia, 15.6, 15.4 was the most popular. Other regions will not touch them with a 10-foot pole. And in the work environment, people insist on having the stupid number pad that most people don't use. However, it's better to have it there and make everybody have it, even when some people, most people in fact, don't need it. And people who think they want it shouldn't want it. You learn to use the number row, people, unless you're doing actual, well, we have a lot of people with what we're in banking. But they'll stand, like at least our company standardizes on the one with the number pad. So I got to deal with it, annoyingly. But that doesn't fit in the commuter, and I'm gonna tell you, most people out there, like your average person, is somebody who worked in a Best Buy for more than 6 years. Yeah, they're buying the cheap laptop or budget laptop. They're all 15 inches, always. Often they're cheaper than the 14 or the 13. Or if anything, they probably go to the 17. That's what they would do. Now this here, this bad boy right here, we're going to test the pouch because they show, LTT shows having a pretty chonk laptop in that back pouch with a thinner laptop that kind of looks like a Dell to me, like a cheaper Dell or HP, and then like an old as AF iPad, old AF iPad. This is chonkier than what I was running for my last two laptops. And I say last two because stuff happened. The T15Ps have known issues with the graphics side. Well, I thought I was missing this until one day, right? Then I also had it where my Wi-Fi card just wouldn't show up to the hardware, like in the UEFI level, dead. So, and then our internal guy was out, and he's like, hey, we just had one returned. Clean it up, and because I haven't reset it, you can get logged in and use it. And then I used that for 4 months until, because the previous owner treated it very poorly, the right click on the track point broke. And as much as I mainly use it at a desk or a dock, I need to be able to go into meeting rooms, conference rooms, conference cube square things, or meeting square things, or here if I want to work on the couch. You know, couch recliner. So this bad boy is thicker than any of them. All of those had 3050 and the entry level, the newer one had the entry level Ada processor in it. That's like equivalent of the 3060, I think, or it might have been 4060, but in Quadro form. This bad boy, unlike a lot of the Slim, because I have a buddy who got one of these this era. This is a doesn't say on, normally it says at the bottom of the screen in one of the sides here, or the top of the keyboard. Doesn't say. But he got one of these. Well, I can tell you it's 11th gen, might be 10th gen based on that logo. He got one of these that's thin, like you saw the T15P, maybe a little bit thicker. Also didn't have this. This is a 2080 Ti mobile in it. T15G Gen 1. So it's probably a 10th gen, not an 11th gen. Because the Gen 2 would be the 11th gen. This is a 2080 Ti. He has a 2080 in a Slim, and it just overheats all the time. Same reason why. Like in our other models, even the ones that are almost this thick, you know, only having like a 3050, 3060, or 4050, I don't know if there's 4050 in a laptop, 4060 level, it is basically the definition of a graphics card. Like, you get the benefit of having an NVIDIA graphics card and all the acceleration it can provide, but it's not like the heat of jamming a 2080 in here. Now, this guy can handle it, or better at least, because it is a thick chonker. So if you're wondering, the T15P Gen 2 I had, also, like, it couldn't even be powered off USB-C. I believe this is the same way, though it has two USB-C ports, both are Thunderbolt. You have to use, and it's got like some like 230 watt power brick, or maybe bigger, 400 watt. Who the fuck knows? I gotta put the kitten down. Yeah, we gotta go watch anime. I know you're wondering why we haven't sat down yet. This guy though, this is a thick chonker of a laptop. I need to tell out for work tomorrow. Otherwise, I will not be able to work at work, which is the point of work, turns out. You're on the laptop, Paisley Marie. Yeah, you know exactly what I was doing, didn't you? Yeah? Alright, so let's take out the Blade Stealth, our 13-inch test machine unit. You could also use the ThinkPad 13, which is somewhere around here. And let's see how well, like I said, this pouch is, this pouch in the back is nowhere, it's not like gusseted, and there's not as much room. They show a pretty thick laptop in there. That's a thick laptop. When you have full-size HDMI, full-size SD card reader, anytime you see LAN port on the back, power on the back, you know it is chonker. So it fits. If they had the newer design though that the Commuter had, it would fit easier and fit better. And then there wouldn't necessarily be, because it's shaped, if you put this pocket on top of this pocket, you could actually just slim it and you could give it room as well. Right? So that is a thick 15-inch. I mean, they show it happening with even an iPad and like a 12 or a 13-inch. Let's see here. Yeah, you can do it, but because of how thick this is, remember how this got down to here before? Right? This ain't happening, even though there should be room down there. And it's because of how, because it's not like built out, designed for the thicker laptop. It is taking up room in the bottom of this stack because it's a thick chunker. Well, I still need to figure out what would you do with this. 64 gigs of RAM. I think it should be dead. I haven't used it in a year or more. This is one of those things where if somebody came, like one of my friends or family, or even friend of friend came up and was like, hey, I need power portably, like as in like not a desktop, but like a very young. This was bought for a specific purpose. Once that purpose was complete, out of here. That's how I ended up with it. But yeah, like I would almost use this as like, you could use this as a dedicated rendering rig. I mean, it's got a 2080 Ti in it, as well as I forget which processor, but you know, a pretty chunky 10th gen, 64 gigs of RAM. I think that's a 4K OLED touch panel. Like it's all I can say is having the small, like this is the G, I had the P, right? If I can see why the engineers that used this only wanted to see it and use it as long as required, because holy, I mean, you're gonna get a workout, right? You're gonna get a workout. For example, this has a 230 watt power brick. I think you need the 400 watt dock if you got this, right? Uses a standard desktop power plug. So that's the sort of thing, is if you're expecting people to put that in the bag, I would want to see placement for something like that, like a power brick like that. Whereas anything without a dedicated graphics card, you can run with usually a 100 watt type C. I forget what it was, but the ThinkPad I had for a couple months here, that I really would have liked to keep, that had the right click that broke, but then we're going away from ThinkPads. That needed 135 watts, I think, but technically, and it was delivered via Type C. So you need something a little bit bigger, but still. These pouches right here, that's not big enough to contain that 230 watt power brick, at least easily. So you're probably gonna have to toss it in the bottom. A bag this big, I know it was designed for Linus's like bag of holding under here that you can't really get good enough to, in my opinion, because of this side pocket. But this does not, this pocket here, this pocket here does not go that deep. Should have had a zipper pouch way at the bottom that you could unzip, and you want to keep the, like when you have a charger that thick and that big, you want it as low as you can go with it, right? And then this being all smooth up front here, I guess I can kind of see why you would want it if you're just gonna stuff shit in there. But you could have at least gotten us pockets like this. As much as I would like to see better pockets than that. The commuter backpack is a much better showing. Unless you need that much storage, and that much general storage, not defined, what do you want to say, defined use case or dedicated use case storage. Paisley Marie, I need my chair back. Yep. So here is what I actually used on site. I shouldn't have been, but this is my favorite backpack. Still is. Oakley kind of made another one of these for a while, but it had one less pocket. It has since been repaired. Basically, this is a very lightweight, like hiking, cycling, outdoor backpack, but tech oriented. You can see, yes, this is from the era of your CD player in your pouch here, except it would have been MP3 at that point, right? And you would put it in here and have, here, you guys want to see what an iPod pouch actually looks like? I never saw the point of this, mind you. It even has a little soft on both sides. Pop that in there like that, you know, and then you run your headphones out. I don't know why you would want to be attached to your backpack like that. This should be in your pocket. This should be in your coat jacket pocket. This should be anywhere but in your backpack, in my opinion. But that was a trend that I never personally like. They had some of these pouches on, I think in a recent video with Dank Pods. Linus mentioned that his snowboarding jacket has a pouch for a Discman, not even an MP3 player. That makes more sense because at least it's attached to you. This, if you want to take it off and put it down, your headphones are going with, right? Unless you're running a little extension. I've seen that before too on some of these old school ones. Little extension, a 3.5mm extension goes out here. They would even have sometimes some of the Discmans would have battery like ACs, so they would have like a pouch for the chargers for them. But you run the extension out so you could plug in your headphones up there. Still don't really see the point. This has two pouches out here. You can use them for water bottles if you want. I rarely did that. I used them to just stuff them with other things. Often just things I needed quick access on a regular basis. So I guess we can lead you through this guy. Very probably all the laptops, but giant laptop pouch. I should 1x in. I know this is not a review of this bag. You can't even buy this bag anymore. But I would like to. I should grab the laptop. I shouldn't have the one. You think the LTT bag fits big laptops? This thing fits big laptops. You could even fit big laptops. Yes, you could double it up. That's two 15s in there. Like, that's how big. Because having a 17-inch, 15-inch gaming laptops, those were small back in this era. I remember after having this backpack for years, I then picked up a first-gen Intel i7. I want to say that might have been the 400 series graphics in there, like a 4060, 4050. That might not line up correctly. I might be getting my times wrong. But something like this easily fits in there. And look at this. You're not hitting the bottom of the bag. Right? There's padding even down here. Now this is how big this bag is once filled up. I remember this has had multiple decades of use. So you have your dedicated pocket. Okay, commuter, very good at that as well. And this is a straight up, this is where some changes from an updated version of this, where the updated version did not have the dedicated pocket. Still had all the padding and everything, but basically this pouch in here became the laptop pouch. I prefer this. So in here, does have a big flappy pouch. I put HDMI cables in there, Ethernet cables in there, like things you have to loop big because they're stiff, right? And you loop them real big and you put them in here. You used to even carry a VGA cable. Yep. You know, you can see how thin this is. You can see through the bottom, right? Now, a lot of that might be wear, but this is also meant as like a cycling and hiking and, you know, like that sort of backpack. And yet I use this as an on-site tech for an entire year, though it started giving out because I stuffed it too full. Right here, it had to be repaired. That's what's nice about having a mother who is very, very handy. But here's what I'm talking about. You want pouches like these. Elastic up top, mesh. They don't look cool, right? You maybe don't use the mesh, maybe use the thing from the new Commuter. But what this allows you to do is put bigger things because it comes out away from here. It doesn't have to be, oh, you can have it baby little thin. I always had charger here, battery bank there, or, you know, like thicker, like things about yay thick at a minimum, if not thicker in there. And then watch this. This is something. So this is your main pocket of holding. We went all the way down to the bottom, and yet it can be a pocket of holding. And look, you have a big pouch. You got your MP3 pouch, not really useful, but you got your big pouch, not padded, for those big coily cables. Yet this is like stiff, right? Then you got your mesh pouches, and then they leave it open on the bottom. The bottom third is open to fit your big stuff, like your shoes or your, you know, big clunky stuff. Then you have one more pouch. This also has the mesh pockets, right? Nothing here, but also you can put that in there. So often, this would be notebooks, like when I'm in school, right? Notebooks, books, laptop. So whatever you want, if you're in a class taking notes about I was gonna say dissertation, whatever you want to say, like a lecture, right? Go to your notebook pocket, pull out your notebooks. You need reference material, go to your big pocket, get that. You need your laptop, go to your laptop pocket. Now there's even one more, there's 4 pockets. This little guy on the front is then your pens, pencils. I got a ruler, a little rule, a very little straight edge, you know, very, very handy to have for design stuff, just for quick reference, for drawing a straight line. Drawing a straight line looks kind of hard. I got your hobby knife. This one has a protector on it, which I really liked. And then the back end acts as a little snapper. Which brand was this? Persona Pro, no idea. But I like that it had a cap so that if this got extended in my bag, it wouldn't slice through the bottom of the bag, and then that acted as a snapper offer. And it's otherwise very thin, very lightweight. It's just the metal, right? So that's in there. We got here's a multi-pen. This is how I did notes. I used to use 3 to 4 different pens. Multi-pen, far superior. Looks like one of the inks leaked, because it's been looks like multiple of the inks leaked, because it's been better part of a decade at this point. But this is how I would do notes. General notes in one thing. It'd be like comments on those in one other thing, equations and formulas in another thing, and then like corrections is orange, like how you normally correct in red. I hate red ink, so I went orange because it's a very similar color. And it's not even necessarily correcting. Often you have to correct other people's, whether it's English, mathematics, other stuff. Great for that. Also good for correcting your own notes. Like if you're like, no, wrong. You can still draw through it, yet see it, yet have a very visible correction. Then, because these don't have much ink in them, we have refills for all of them, except orange, I guess. No, it's right here too. So I would always keep, I still do this to this day. Also, they're meant to be stored tip up, so that's probably why this leak, because I wasn't using it, and the cartridges are tipped down. Normally when you're using it enough, that's not a problem. But then if I would have to pull one of these out because I ran out, you used to order another one out. And yes, you're like, why are they stapled? That's because they have flaps on the back. The flaps would make them too tall to fit properly. Then I have my lead for my lead holder. Got my scribe with the tip flipped. You know, this has like a function, whereas I feel like the equivalent LTT on the front of there doesn't have as much utility. Now we have the key clip, or your ID clip, or your, this is the worst carabiner ever. I'm surprised it didn't break, but I didn't really use it much. And then in here I got my this is my personally my perfect I would say like pencil case. Nice silicone, pop it open, you can get at all your stuff. There's a bunch missing because, yeah, I haven't necessarily had to use this, especially since I've been working my current job. Yeah, so that's where there just needs to be more, and I think they did that better in the Commuter. And this is in a bag that's smaller than the Commuter, right? And I probably fit what I would fit in the, maybe not with the bag of holding, but I mean, that's a pretty big section. I like to have dedicated spots for everything. It's, I mean, you can see this thing's used for sure. That's not dirt. That's just wear, like discoloring from use. You got these big, I would always hang big carabiners off of these guys, right? You know, often my speaker here, even when I had a different kind of speaker, clip, yeah, super duper handy. So that's something that the LTT really doesn't have, is just like random places to clip stuff. I know they're not going for that vibe, but if you can stealth them in there and make them look part of it, and them still be useful, that might be a good option. So I was talking about spots in the bag. So here's how this is set up, and this is set up. This is the replacement for the Oakley as my like on-site bag. It is technically a gym bag, but this side we have LTT Screwdriver, black and orange, my original one. We have screen cleaner, very important. If you're going to work on somebody's device, leave it looking nicer. That's something that Geek Squad trained me on. I would agree. The amount of times that we got great feedback just from cleaning off after we're done. It might have even, it always came out cleaner than it came in as. But that we got better rapport and feedback because of that was quite often. This side we have my rechargeable headlamp case, or my non-rechargeable would have been there before, and my trackball. There's one thing with this that they didn't really figure out was, okay, you got your headband, but this is all nice. Where you put the headband. And I switched that rechargeable one because otherwise, usually on lunch, I would have to find a micro B port for this guy. You normally see me wearing bigger ones around here, but it's much nicer to be able to have that in your pocket, or just have that in the side of your bag, and not have it be as like obtrusive and look like you're going mining. Impression to the customer. In this case, temporarily, I've got Mini High-Tech C. I got Uniball P series. This is actually for Japan, designed thicker to be able to be used with gloves on. We got the classic Zebra oil-based permanent marker. Whiteout works great for marking, right, and whiting out. And then one of these deep hole Pica markers, super duper useful. Now, some of this may change when I get, because this is where a lot of those other things strapped up that I showed previously. You also have some that strap up here on these little tabs here. You also got those same tabs on the side here and on the side here. Here's one of the things that used to be one of those eyelets on the Oakley, and that is my Koss Porta Pros in their case with their little locking Night Eyes clip. And I moved it up so it doesn't drag as much. On this side, I have all these guys, which are all StarTech adapters, USB-C to DisplayPort to HDMI to VGA. Super helpful just to have those. Once again, if the client needs that, you just give it to them, order another one. I got extra USBs of Wi-Fi A, Wi-Fi N, 2 and 3, USB 2 and 3, a mini tape measure. Yeah, this is definitely use over looks, right? Functionality over form. But that's what you can do with just like random clips. And if somebody doesn't want to use it, these can just be visual accents, right? You can even make them black. They might not even see them. You saw some on the sides of the LTT backpack and on the commuter, right here, right? I don't know, put them right here. Paisley's in the box. See, you got 2 of them right there. And that very much is meant for something hooked hanging off, like I mentioned, people would do it with the AirPods. I, once again, with AirPods, put them in your fucking pocket. Maybe I'm crazy. But I use them enough or want access to them enough. Also, they're a rather pricey item that people go for. I don't know. It's just me. So, this front pocket's kind of annoying. It will be better once I don't have to use it the way I am, but I got my notebooks in there for now. And we've got, you know, basically with this, it's just a slim pocket that goes all the way down to the bottom. I think with the vents, it's really meant, since this is a gym bag, it's meant for shoes. I got stuff like this USB squid, super helpful on devices that only have 1 or 2 USB A's, and you need to plug in a keyboard, a mouse, and everything else to troubleshoot the damn thing. And then way down at the bottom, we got apparently Mentos gum. Those are got to be ancient right now. Some of this I need to get. We got, oh, if you're ever doing tech stuff and you're doing troubleshooting, always carry batteries. AAA's, AA's. The number of systems and TVs and conference room systems that I've fixed. Mini stapler that takes full-size staples, super helpful. Where I've charged them to drive out to just change their batteries is immense. And I charge them an hour because that's our minimum thing. So that one doesn't open up. Could be a little bit better on here. Now, however, the big one opens up even further than any others. So here's where LTT could learn something. See how there's enough slack in the pouch to fill it with stuff and close it. Also, they have pouches below and pouches above, right? Whereas the LTT, and even you saw in the Oakley where it only had one on the bottom or only had one at the top. Or if you want to do a zipper one, do it at the bottom and then have mesh pouches up top or something. Use that flat area. That's what I'm saying. Now this sort of area here, this main pouch, is configured much like that. I said that loose pouch where I need to keep these big, like I got an HDMI. I should have a display port in there as well, loosely wound. I got my Ethernets for troubleshooting. You got some bigger dongles down there. I've got a mouse pad because, you know, sometimes you need a nice surface to use. And all that kind of stays in there flat and I can easily get at it. And there's plenty of room to put, I could put clothes in there. That's what this is designed for. Or, you know, whatever. Hardware that I'm supposed to install. Additional troubleshooting or tools that might be needed for a specific... Are you going to throw up on my chair? Come on. Oh, jump. Yeah, when you do that, you normally throw out Paisley. I would just rather you didn't on my chair. She's licking her lips. I do that too. You know, and up here, I think I showed you, this is accessible with just the top open. That's where I was talking. If you only opened it up this far, you can get to this pouch and in this front. Then way down at the bottom, this has my charger, this has my charger and my iFixit kit. I just go down here, pull it out. You got the smaller iFixit kit. I've been over in my video on the LTT Precision Toolkit on why, if you're using it regularly or professionally, buy the iFixit kit. As much as I think the case from LTT is a much nicer, much improved case. In the long run, you're gonna have better spent on. Now this is kind of how I got everything in here without those additional packages and stuff like that. But stuff like this where, okay, so here, yep, you could have this smooth part down here for that Steam Deck, right? But what if, you know, because you got pouches up here, what if you put a zipper right at the top so that if you're not using that for a Steam Deck, you could use it for your charger or something else, right? Also, there's not much give here compared to, like, as you can see, they're very flat to the back of this. That's where I would almost do elastic up top and let them billow out a little bit, you know, or a zipper. I prefer the ones up top to not have the zipper, so you can just go in and grab it. This one, like this, is more similar, right? You got the zipper up top. This goes down about halfway, right? That's fine. Well, what about down here? Why no pouches? If this pouch goes halfway, there should be another pouch that goes here, right? Make use of your area, and it's the same here. So there's nothing down below. Maybe they're that worried about people throwing in their Steam Deck without any other protection, because that's what they kind of advertise it as. I would have to know more on that. I don't know. I can see a lot of opportunity for improvement on this. Like, same thing with this front guy here. My camera kind of falling backwards and not clipping on very well. This, I could fit my notebook over there. That's kind of fine. Like, I want to see more of this sort of springy mesh. Like this pocket too. You saw when I put my notebook in. Physically, dimensionally, it fit fine. But how this is sewn is it's sewn flat, right? Same thing, one pen pocket. I don't know. You can put them here where your screwdriver goes. You could probably fit one here, one there. Also for pens, that's not deep enough. Let me illustrate that. Here is a tactile turn side click, the Grenado edition. Can't even clip. Not deep enough. Too deep. So this would fit a short pen, but here's a brand new EDK V2, one of the last ones they made. This is a battle worn top, and you get to choose your bottom. This is considered an everyday carry pen, so it's shorter, 5 inches in length, pretty much the optimal length. That does fit and just makes it. This is considered a short pen at 5 inches. And this clip is moved down further, if we get their other 5-inch pen, if you notice the clip is mounted higher, that will clip, but it will not completely seat. So it does at least get through this bump, right? It's at least something, but most pens will be taller than that. I was wondering, do you have a standard pen? Here is a very popular pen with the college crowd, the Muji pen. Clip doesn't even make it there. This is, they use Uniball as their OEM for the refill. Okay, I got Pilot G2s, which is the most popular pen in the US. Pilot G2, the US gel pen. Barely clips. Yeah, that's the stuff I'm talking about. Is the Commuter any better? Oh, and I did get clarification from the website. This is supposed to be your glasses. Do not put your glasses in there. I mentioned phone. You will wreck your glasses or your sunglasses. Here are glasses. That there's no dimensionality to that pocket unless your glasses are literally flat. My sunglasses are the exact same ones. Now, if I went and got my actual Oakleys, like Linus had, they were half somethings. I used to have a pair actually of a similar, and I actually know one of the other YouTube guys I watch that has the one where it's open on the bottom as well. Half jackets maybe half jackets. They're like this thick, you know. And I did show how it could potentially be safe on the Commuter with it because it's hardened, it's built out. Do not use this, even though they advertise it as a glasses spot. They're like that is a big thing on this entire bag is dimensionality. Like you actually have, like you might have the pocket there, but you have to leave room for the items. Now this laptop pocket, way too skinny. Same issue there. Oh, there's my ThinkPad 13. Okay. So still using this as my, till Windows 10 is EOL. This guy got me through, oh, I guess I never technically finished college, but got me through what college I did go through. And yes, I did put carbon fiber 3M wrap on it because it's a silver ThinkPad, and ThinkPads aren't supposed to be silver, and it got on me. 6th gen. So no hope of it going on Windows 11. This barely fits in here. And it's a skinny ass small laptop, right? You have a lot of height left, but and like it clips here. I don't really know why that's necessarily needed, but getting this out is kind of a, that bit of this is not all that thought of, especially when this thing's updates, and I need to get an ESU extended security updates. Pretty important when you're doing IT work that you're able to get to your laptop. So that, I don't know if when I was doing it every day professionally, maybe I would have found an efficient way to do that. Another zipper, here's what I would have done. Another zipper here to be able to just grab the laptop. Like instead of unzipping this side, you just unzip from here to here and then go in and pull it out. That would have been mint. here, look, I even still carry dual link DBI A or I to VGA. Yeah, you never know. You got 2 different HDMI adapters, got 1080p and 4K. Whole bunch of different stuff in here. But what we're going to look at, oh yeah, was the commuter. Does it have better setup for pens and stuff? Yes, that is already better, right? So these are stiffer, these are deeper. I could fit my notebook back here. It is magnetic. This kind of gets in the way. It's too short, in my opinion. Or it should be like one of those things, or you should be able to mount one there. I'm sure you could if you take a big wire cutter, clip that off, put whatever you actually want there. Or I would just it off because I wanted to put my notebook in this slot. But it's just like, in my opinion, not long enough to do anything. If you saw the Oakley one, that one was a bit better because there was a bit of leeway that you go with it. This pouch, you can already see these. These have a little bit of room in them to actually put items in. So you could easily, they have a singular pen pocket here that's pretty skinny. I think we tested that. We got the screwdriver pocket, but all this could be pens if you wanted to. Then this pouch for more of the softer stuff. Like you saw my little stapler, that could go in there, right? It's just, and then down here, they have a bottom zipper pouch, like I showed as well in the 511. So what I personally would love to see, and I know LTT put a ton of money into it, but I do know stuff happened with their backpack supplier that has put other stuff on hold. So I wonder if that might give them a chance to update and refine the original backpack, because this one is much improved, the commuter. I think this is the better product, considerably so. It's more thought out. You can tell it wasn't just guided by one person's desire for exactly what they needed, which I think is a bit of what Linus needs, to be truthful. And not in a bad way, but it's something like, who is that? I'm trying to remember which anime studio that is. Studio Trigger. I could never, and you guys may be like, you're an anime fan and you can't get into Studio Trigger? Okay, here's my issue with Studio Trigger. And we're going to use this as not an acronym, what's the compare and contrast term? Not an analogy. It might be right. But Studio Trigger, they are spun off of Gynex. And who's now, I think, completely bankrupt, closed down. However, a lot of the stuff out of Studio Trigger takes it too far. They boil stuff down to be like too much exactly what you're looking for, if that makes sense. Like they are hitting that genre or that trope so hard, like too hard. Like there's like they're following it too much, in my opinion. That there's not deviation, that if you know the rhythm, you can predict what's happening. Now, for people who want that, like you're watching for the nostalgia, that can be good, but I don't know that you're going to attract new people with that, because you're going way over the top with something that new viewers are going to find trouble getting into. That is where what I was getting into is I personally think that Studio Trigger is one of, if not their best work, is Cyberpunk Edge Runners, because they had, though they did it and they did the bulk of it, they had other people kind of like holding them back or pushing them in certain places. Like some, like you let them create, but then you have somebody kind of like direct them a little bit. Like, hey, nope, we don't want to go that far with this, or please go farther in this area. Because otherwise, a lot of the creators in Studio Trigger from Gynex, they are like OGs of the anime world. You cannot say no, right? I think with a lot of the early LTT products that have later been much refined, and a lot of these were Linus-led design. That's been brought up in WAN Show before. That has shifted away, where maybe it's Linus idea design, but then he actually has talented people and he actually lets them create now. And I think that is what has happened with the Commuter, is the execution is much better. Whereas the original LTT Backpack, and you even actually see Linus carrying the Commuter more now. I don't know if that's necessarily him admitting it is better, but though this was made for a specific person in a specific place in a specific time, I feel like that is less... This hits less of a market, right? The big $250 one hits less of a market than the Commuter does. You're going to have to do more to this as well, in my opinion, to adapt it to whatever your use case is. Because there are less places like, okay, so you have, for example, you have your laptop. Okay, so you have your laptops, right? You got up to two laptops and a tablet. Where is a dedicated place in here to store the chargers for those? Right? You got two little pouches here. If you're either doing one charger big enough for all that, just the big laptop they show off probably doesn't fit in there. Or you're going to need like a very big charger that can do all these different wattages across multiple devices. Now, that's how I would travel if you're insisting on carrying that much stuff. So then you have to modify the big bag of holding, which is, I think, where the tech sack comes from. Tech sack fits much better, though, in the Commuter. Phaser, what are you doing? Hey. Get on. There just could have been a lot more done with this, whereas if you don't want to use it as the big thing of holding, that you could utilize it in another way, right? This is just a big blank space that's only half used, right? Like, you know, like a lot of this core design did carry over. The riveted handle. This is actually like a bit hard too and stiff. Not bad. I might have liked to see like the rubber overmold like you see on this 511 here. Just to give it to some real heft. They do have the little tabs here. The hard plastic or rubber that is on the Commuter that is wider is a much better design than these two individual pieces here, right? Much more robust, etc. I prefer having the dedicated spots. Like I said, there's many things here. Now, if you need a bag this big and you regularly have to carry a lot of stuff or multiple laptops or, like I said, multiple engineers at my company have these. There are people out there that need it. You know, just keep kind of what I've... Don't be like, oh, everything you showed... No, these are places that they can improve in the next version. Hopefully, from me critiquing it, you've also seen what you can do with it. Like, what you can fit in it. Where you could put stuff. Maybe you, like me, with this, need to buy more tech sacks from them. Or other containers of objects, right? Like, there is, especially in the tool side of things... I think it's CountyCom. They have a whole thing of just tool rolls to put in other bags or in your truck, or, you know, they have general bags too. That's just not generally how I roll personally. excuse me, personally, I'm going to have to roll that way a little bit, this 511. But I like having, if I can, a dedicated pouch. That thing always goes there. It fits there perfectly. Like even in that Oakley I was showing you, there was like a dedicated pouch, like one of those mesh pouches. I would always have my graphing calculator in there, required for more advanced levels of, you know, mathematics, physics, that sort of stuff. And it would always live there, and I knew I could go in my bag without even freaking looking and find it. I'm sure Linus is that way with his bag. But I feel like to get it to be in that state, you're going to have to put a little bit more effort into the big original LTT backpack than you would have with the Commuter. My recommendation to all of you, after multiple hours of review, Jesus, what am I doing? Is if your laptop fits in the Commuter, this guy, get the Commuter. Seriously, I'd be running it right now if my laptop for work fit. Can't control that. Now, when it comes to something like what I'm using that 511 for as a on-site diagnostic tech bag, Commuter wouldn't cut it. There's just not enough nooks and crannies and general storage in there. I would have loved to have this back when I was using that Oakley, because I was overfilling that Oakley often. Like what I've kind of shown in here is most of what was in there, but not everything. Like it was always puffed up, and I always had to bring other things, because whenever you go to a place to fix it, you might initially go there to diagnose it. You may think you know what it is, so you're carrying that in with you. That big bag of holding sort of slot would have been great for that. I could even fit like a Netgear switch in there, or a TP-Link router, or a Ubiquiti access point. You know, like I could throw it in there rather than having to like carry it in like my tool bag, or, you know, some other sort of like I was using milk crates, that sort of thing. I have a kind of like a milk crate for my Milwaukee pack out setup. So depending on your use case, that may be very useful. And with how durable this feels, it's both reprieve, but this feels like softer in a way, a little bit less durable. I don't know if this has the double bottom that made the LTT backpack famous, where Linus cuts it open and there's only one bottom to it. Yeah, the new ones have the double bottom. That way, even if you wear through the one bottom, you have another one. I showed you though on, if you're smart about where you put down your backpack, even that Oakley bag right there, where you could see through. Now that might be because it's had 20 years of wear on it, roughly. Though I haven't been using the last 4. So let's say 15 years of wear. Maybe it's a bit more see-through than it would have been originally. I don't know if I'm too worried about that personally. And when we get to that, that's almost where I would go, like maybe go rubber bottom of the bag. Like I don't know if my tool bag is not in here, but it's actually like rubberized on the base of the bag. Like if you're going towards that, I would does this have it? Yeah. The 511 has it too. That's what I would do. I remember I like that 511. The laptop is kind of the only thing that laptop holder is kind of the only thing that's like yeah, so, you know, it's I have an easier sell. If you guys haven't watched the Commuter, I pretty much just praised that thing the whole time. And even once my laptop didn't fit, I was bummed because I was ready to use it. In the case of the big one, I think you have to be a lot more... You need this exact product more than just a backpack. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You know, hopefully everybody over at lttstore.com found my feedback on this useful. A lot of it you may already know because a bunch was implemented in the commuter. But hopefully that was useful. And at least hopefully you guys that are out there are aware of this if you're spending $250 on a backpack. I do have the affiliate links down below if you're interested in, you know, the LTT Backpack, the LTT Commuter Backpack, or get yourself a mystery LTT Screwdriver. You know, my recommendation also, if you pick up a screwdriver, get the Torx screw bits right away. You're going to want them. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. As always, peace.